I'm excited to see these set photos and break it down for you. So the first one here, and I got Zombie Ken here, is the first look that kind of went like wide and spread everywhere, and a lot of people was breaking it down and talking about it. For my initial thoughts and looking at it, I was like, this looks better than that first photo they sent us. That really AI, very, very edited photo where you just put in boots on. It had a weird Gallic gun beam in the background. Wasn't really a big fan of that photo and that initial reveal, but I actually like this a lot more. I think it gives a context how more of the suit will look in real time and kind of what they're going for. For me, this feels like this is going to be a suit made like homemade. Something that's going to be a little bit of homemade, a little bit of mixture of his Kryptonian heritage. Maybe this is the suit he wears that he makes himself, or maybe his mom makes him. And I can see that since this is going to be his second year as Superman, so this is not going to be like a fully established thing. So just like in the Batman with the Matt Reeves film, I think that's what they're going to be going for here. I love the colors. I think they pop really well. And I like his stance. He looks like Superman. I'll say that right off the bat. He does look like Superman. What I like that the reveal photos didn't show was like he has that classic S curl, as you see there, and this suit and this look is mixed with so many different things. So he has the classic S curl. He has the new 52 design, so it has the collar for the new 52. It also has like the over design, I'll call it, with all the lining and stuff like that, and even with the way his hands are, it kind of comes to that triangle a little bit, just like in the new 52. It has the Kingdom Come S, which is really interesting to start with that S. That's something I thought he would like grow into if they were ever to do Kingdom Come. I'm not too big a fan of that being the first S. I really wish he would want more classical looking S, but it still looks good in the photo. And yeah, he has the classic trunks and belt. A lot of people were wondering if he was going to go with the classical look in terms of the trunks and the belt. I've seen a lot of different discussions about, oh, it doesn't look great, or it looks kind of cheesy. It's not, it's not cool. But I don't think that's what James Gunn is going for. I don't think James Gunn is going for cool. I think he's going for a more classic Superman look, and I can see all the inspirations that he has coming from this in terms of that look from the comics itself. He has it feels like a mixture of what they were doing Christopher Reeves Superman mixed with a bunch of comic elements. Another thing that was revealed is another superhero that I didn't expect to be seeing, but they brought up was Mr. Terrific, one of my favorite DC superheroes. And honestly, this is ripped straight out of the comics. I have no notes, no complaints about Mr. Terrific. I think this is a design that's the actor is gonna have to win people over. And as you see, I got this from DC Updates on Twitter. This is the exact picture. And I think Mr. Terrific is a character and a costume that has to win a lot of people in the movie. I think the actor has to have that swag in order to bring it to life. In these photos right here, he's not getting to do much, but he does look like the character, and he does look great. I really, really like the fact that James Gunn is going with these comic book accurate suits. And I'll say that even if whatever you can say about the DCU, no matter what mess it was, their suit game was really, really strong all the time. I think that almost on a consistent basis, heroes and villains had really great costumes. You could think about, even though we didn't get much of him, Deathstroke looked amazing. They made Black Manta look amazing live action. I think that Wonder Woman looked amazing. There's a lot of different characters that look great. So that's a consistent thing that DC has done throughout the years with making the superhero and villain suits look great and comic accurate kind of. And I think he's continuing here, even going deeper into ripping it straight out from the comics. The next set photo I want to talk about is this picture, which I really, really like. Why I like this? Because this silhouette, this picture from him from behind, he looks very much like Superman here. He looks a lot like Superman here, and I really, really like this photo. I feel like without me knowing any context, if someone just showed me this photo, I would get excited because I'm like, that's Superman. The hair, the long cape, the way it just looks inspiring, and I like that he has the logo on the back. I really, really like that he has the logo on the back. Because a lot of the time Superman is moving really fast and not seeing his chest, but he's flying away. You see that logo on the back. It's supposed to inspire, and it just reminds me of a lot of his suits in the comics. And obviously Mr. Terrific's here, and it has his name on the back as well, Terrific, the Fair Play jacket. I do wonder if they're going to tell his origin story here, or it will just be a quick introduction. Next set photo is not Superman at all. This is going to be some of the people who are classic Superman supporting cast characters, especially when it comes to the Daily Planet. So we got the first look at Michaela Hoover as Cat Grant. Michaela Hoover, if you're not familiar with her, because I wasn't familiar with her, was in Guardians of the Galaxy, the first one, and she was Nova Prime's assistant. And she also voiced Floor the Rabbit in Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. So she's worked with James Gunn 3 times because she also played a character named Camila in the Suicide Squad. So this is a character, this is an actress that James Gunn apparently trusts, and she's playing Cat Grant. And honestly, I'm not gonna lie, she looks exactly like how the character should look, down to the blonde wig, down to the cleavage. The character is a character that is kind of sexual. She is a kind of a love interest to Clark Kent. She flirts with him a lot. He doesn't really reciprocate it that much. So I can see that happening in the movie and being fun. But also she becomes more of an important character where she's a gossip columnist, and then she eventually moves up and eventually takes over the Daily Planet. But speaking of running the Daily Planet, we also have, oh, actually, no, we're not there yet. This is just his co-workers. So we got the first look at Christopher McDonald as Ron Troop. Ronald Troop is also another one that's been in the comics, been in TV shows, animated series over and over. Hard-nosed reporter who competes a lot with Lois, and is also cooped up with Cat Grant, and the next person who's playing by Beck Bennett as Steve Lombard. Out of all these photos, obviously I think Michaela looks great as Cat Grant, and I already see like it feels like it's nailing the feel. I think that Beck Bennett is nailing Steve Lombard in this little photo right here, right off the bat, right? Like, I think he looks great at the face he's making, the way he's rocking the mustache, even the arm movements. Steve Lombard is a character that's like this jock, cocky, charismatic. He's kind of a douchebag character, but like really like charismatic in a way where you like him. And he's obviously an antagonistic person to Clark and Lois and Jimmy Olsen. And speaking of those people, we got the first look at some of the most important side characters to Superman, Clark Kent, and that is Jimmy Olsen, played by, I think, Skylar Gizmodo. I believe that's how you say his last name. I'm messing this man name up. Let me see if I can find the correct name. I believe it's Gizmodo or something like that. I know his first name is Skylar. Yeah, Gizondo. Gizondo is his name. We also have Wendell Pierce as Perry White, which I think he looks a lot like the Perry White character, even though he's not white. And I think that Rachel Brosnahan looks great as Lois Lane. Got the classic purple look. I could see him taking this character being directly inspired by the animated series. And I think that these 3 characters, plus the other 3 characters that I just showed, is heavily inspired by the animated series. I think James Gunn is just taking the best versions of every character that we have here and using them from whatever, either whether it's the comics, the animated series, a live action movie. He's just taking the best elements and throwing it in here, trying to make like a prime version of Superman, which I think is a really, really smart idea. We'll see what the story is like. We have some plot details when it comes to the story, but I think he's doing a really, really good job of maybe picking the most recognizable versions of the characters. Something that the DCU didn't do. They did like the off-cut shoots of characters, or like how a character was in a short period of time, and it kind of threw off a lot of people. 2 more things I want to shout out when it comes to these set photos. I didn't put everything here, but this one, we got a look, and I love how dirty and grimy these look. The newspapers, obviously, the Daily Planet, and the Metropolis Eagle, which is also a competitive thing in terms of another competitive newspaper outlet with the Daily Planet. And I like that they're doing that because this movie is supposed to tackle his reporter life, his alien life, and his superhero life. And I think that showing that they're going to have another competing newspaper is really great, and it's going to see him like competing against somebody else. And maybe some of these characters are going to end up being on the Eagle, Metropolis Eagle. But you see here, it says Superman stops MTA rail, and there's been leaked photos of the close-ups of that. It's kind of grainy, but it has a real old school feel. And the reason I wanted to show this truck, it's really dusty and everything, and I love the dust on it. It makes it feel lived in. But down here, because a lot of people have been wondering, the film feels like set in like the 1970s or something, or like way back in the day, the way everything looks. But down here on the truck, you can see that it says you can contact us by print online, or mobile app. So this is set in at least close to enough current day. At least close enough current day. It's going to be set more in current day. It's not going to be an old movie where the movie is set in the 70s or the 30s. It's current day now. What I think he's doing here, this is not, I have no confirmation on this, but from the Superman animated series, right? The Superman animated series had a Metropolis that had like two feelings of it. It felt old school in terms of the way the people are, the way they acted, but it was futuristic, had floating cars and things like that. So I think he might be doing a mixture here, whereas a current day and has current technology, maybe even a little more futuristic. And I can see that's where Lex Luthor comes in. But the tone of the film and the tone of how everything is going to be set, feel like it's set late, like before in the past, in terms of how the people act. I think the most important set photo, though, the most important set photo and leak here so far is this one right here. The difference between Clark Kent and Superman. First of all, look at that smile. That is Superman right there. I'm not 100% sure on David Corenswit's acting. I've only seen him twice, and he's done a good job, but I didn't see Superman in those parts. But I'm really excited to see him pull it off. I think James Gunn picked him for a reason. But the fact that they made sure his hair when he's Clark Kent looks so different. He has like that hair that a lot of the kids now have, like a lot of the white kids have, where it's like that fruffly thing going on and kind of hangs into your face. A lot of people online have been making fun of his look, which is perfect because Clark Kent is supposed to be goofy, he's supposed to be a nerd, he's supposed to be a geek, and that's why you don't know that he's the character on the right. And I can see people not realizing this guy is not the guy on the right. And you can even see him in his body language. Just see how tilted he looks in this small picture here as Clark Kent. But on the right, he's standing tall, straight, with a big smile. I think he's doing a great job of separating two and showing that these are two different characters. There's a ton of other set photo leaks online right now. There's even a video of him walking through a crowd looking bumbly, which I think is a really great job, and that's going to differentiate the character. There's other characters that I don't really want to get into and spoil. Even looks like Lex Luthor. So if you Google Superman set photos, you'll see those things. But those are the ones I wanted to highlight a lot, and also bring up these pods here. That's going to be very, very interesting. And I think that these pods that we're seeing here is going to tie into what I was saying, where it's going to have this futuristic feel mixed in with the old school feel as well. Let me know in the comments down below how you feel about the first set photos of Superman, the first real look at it that's not photoshopped. What are your thoughts? I see some people say it looks cheap. I see some people that are really excited about the fact that stuff looks homemade in terms of his suit. Drop in the comments down below if you're watching this afterwards. If you're live, stick around and let's talk.